Why give
co-chair and special advisor to Mr. President. So I remain eternally grateful to my boss and mentor, Professor Atahiru Jega, for extending this invitation through the KB Elders Forum. I find this quite very exemplary, and I think that this is the kind of things we would want to have to compare notes, particularly in northern Nigeria, where we have found ourselves trying to emulate what was done before, what history has happened in the past. I hope that, the lessons that I would share would be helpful for not only Kebbi, but for the entire Northwest and the northern part of this country. I am so passionate about Kebbi because I feel that there is no state in this country, and I can be quoted anywhere, that has both the natural and the human resource as Kebbi. I can be quoted anywhere without any sense of contradiction. Therefore, anything that touches Kebbi, I feel glued to it. To say something a little bit also, I feel glued to Kebbi because in my primary school, I would have to remember, in order to pass my exams, some noble names of Kebbi indigents. I would have to remember Colonel Bello Kalian and write the Kalian even when I couldn't write it properly. I had to do that. And I would have to remember, Me Martaba, Allah Rahamshesh, Sani Sani. I come from Gombe. I live in Bauchi all my life. So Kebbi is dear to us. Now, distinguished elders, why are we here? We are here not to share the problems that are here. We are here to look out for solutions to the problems that have existed and their existential. And I hope that at the end of the day, we'll be able to have some thoughts, or we should be able to create an avenue where the developmental agenda of not only Kebbi will be brought to the fore. If I should want to ask, one of the major issues we have around here, that we are having noise around here, is centered around food. The whole story is centered around food. Whatever we do, even an army marches on its stomach. That's what Napoleon said. What brought the French Revolution was food, the high rising cost of food. So what is it that is common? One of the things that is common in all the cultures of the world, but particularly in Nigeria, is whether mutum zai samu dawunsa, ya samu kura da nono, ko ya samu nama ya ɗanci, ko in the risk of saying something that is a little bit maybe advanced joke, there is a component, there's a tribal group somewhere around here that meat is a favorite to them. And I wouldn't want to say that, because they will say, Komai to. So what is happening here is that whether you are taking suya, or you are taking nkobi in the Igbo land, or you are having kilishi, or the people that do the oambe, are using the torso of Kebbi cattle, it is all centered on one fabric that brings us together. And I hope that we will protect that. So we are here not merely, to deliberate and share the problems. We are here to look at what will truly sustain us. Noma shine tushen arziki. I'll share a little story, and my distinguished senior colleague had said that much earlier. A young man was asked about the coal, about Mexico, and when he said that the coal fields of Mexico was given to them by God, but the oil of Mexico was given to them by the devil. And what he meant by that is that when Mexico discovered oil, everything went wrong, went bad. And I think it's the same for us. When we were dependent on hides and skin, when the North was dependent on granaries, when we were dependent on agriculture, we didn't have these bandits around. We didn't have all these failures in our indices. And let me tell you, it is very, very bad indices that we have. Bad indices in the sense that the level of stunted children who do not have access to quality protein, as the doctor has just shared, it is highest in the northern part of this country. And what that means is that because our children have not been exposed to good quality food that our parents had been giving us before, from either game animals, from the Giwarua, from Argungu fishing festivals and other things, it means that these children that you see today would be permanently cut off from developing their potentials. And no wonder you see the gap between the elders and the younger ones in their thinking, in their mental faculties, is because the basic element that makes us complete humans, which is the animal source protein, is lacking. And this is a danger for us in the sense that population is estimated that by 2050 will be 400 million people. If we are going to be 400 million people, who would feed this population? It is both a problem, but it is also an opportunity. It is a problem in the sense that the bulging youth population simply means that more mouth to feed. But it's an opportunity in the sense that if we harness what we currently have properly, then we can feed many more hands, and we can use that as workforce in the agricultural landscape, to feed other nations and take advantage of what other countries, don't have. I would want to mention in terms of GDP, the highest bar you see there in terms of contribution of animal resources. Ethiopia is well ahead of us. Kenya is well ahead of us. Uganda is well ahead of us. Brazil is well ahead of us. Tanzania is ahead of us. Rwanda and India is ahead of us, in terms of GDP contribution of animal-related things to their economy. It ought not to be so. Rwanda, which is not more than the size of Kebbi State, which is not up to the population of Kebbi State, exports powdered milk to countries of the world. Why should it be so? It pains my heart that, if you go to Kigali, go to small factories that couldn't have been any better endowed than the ones that we have from all through the plains and the water areas and the resources of Kebbi State. They are exporting milk. Uganda is producing 5.4 billion liters of milk. Uganda. I can be quoted anywhere for this. But what is the record for Nigeria? Less than 1 million liters of milk? Is that what we should be happy with? It is a sorry state, and I feel that, I should be challenging us, to do something. Now, in terms of comparative livestock contribution to national GDP, capture on every value chain of the livestock sector, where the women, the children, the youth, everybody must have something to depend on. Is either you are using your handset to tell us where the cattle markets are in Kebbi, where the best rams are, or you are selling your products to Saudi Arabia because they need that at that moment. We must find and engage ourselves in these sectors. Then we must find a way of making livestock production and agriculture very attractive to our young men, so that they don't go chasing for other things. They must find ways of seeing it as not carrying a stick. I carry my stick, I follow my animals, yes. No shame about that. But then for joy. But the idea is that we must make the younger generation to find joy in doing animal agriculture, because it's a smart way to go, it's a beautiful thing to do, and they will oil their mouth. Then we must also ensure environmental sustainability in everything we do. And I was very thankful that, His Excellency mentioned about cutting of trees and whatever. Do you know that if we plant trees, we can attract funding, from the climate change, groups, carbon credits and related things. And the simple one is teak, which, we have the riverine areas, that water flows all year round, that we can turn it. I know that he has also some sites, dangers in terms of maybe making it a hideout for security, but this security problem, I don't want to believe that it will be with us forever. Never. It shouldn't be, and it ought not to be. So these are the things. Then we must engage science and technology, both as an enabler and as a sector. Without traceability, without data, nobody buys your product, nobody sees what you're doing, and nobody will take you serious. So these are some of the things that we'll do. Then in areas of governance, this is very key, because policy somersaults must not happen in Kebbi or elsewhere. We've had, boom, Kebbi rice started beautifully, and we can integrate, the crop residues, as animal feed, and have, I'm sorry, but I don't mean to sound insulting. We've had all the fertilizers being given to the crop farmers. What have my brothers gotten in terms of palliatives? Ba abasu kanwa ba, ba abasu dusan alkama ba, ba su samu it used to be a cotton belt, but su samu anguriya ba. Dabbobin mu suna wahala ba, burtalin ma an shiga mana, hurumin ma babu. Haba. A yi tunani a kai. In ana magana agriculture ma ba a ma tuna ma cewa kiwo ma yana cikin harkan agriculture. To Allah ya taimake mu. Then, we can look at what is unique to us for unique markets. For example, some part of Kebbi can rear camels excellently. This is my favorite animal in the world. This is what I'm known for more than anything else. This is what has taken me across most part of the world. This is what I've loved since when I was 4 years old, even though I don't come from where a major camel rearing area. Do you know that a liter of camel milk on the shelf in United Arab Emirates is worth gold? So why don't we use what we have to make the best of what we have? Now, in closing, we must use what we have. And Kebbi's grazing reserve is a vital resource, not just idle land. There should be a strategic asset that we must, put that. And I hope that we would have a regional livestock master plan with detailed potentials. I think that could be an idea for either Hampadek or something, the Northwest Development Commission. They should be able to fund these studies for the growth of the livestock sector in the Northwest. So I'm not only creating the problem, but I'm also creating some ways out. Because there's no problem that does not have a solution unless if we don't look for it. And, my key message is that Kebbi has a good potential to be a global leader in livestock production, providing employment and value-added products. Then, my demand is that both at national, regional, and global level, animal source food are the key, and therefore we can enhance the productivity and the services of our animals, the technologies, the knowledge is there, we don't have any problem, and interestingly enough, if we use the social capital that I see not only in this room, but that of the many heavy indigenous that I see, if we coordinate ourselves, I strongly believe that we would have a more prosperous Kebbi state. I thank you most sincerely. I thank you most sincerely for tolerating my excesses. Thank you.
All the way from HEB Bauchi. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the just recently presented paper captured a lot. Kebbi, being the second largest producer of livestock, has a long way to go. So we can tap from his experience and his presentation. Those that have not gotten this paper can access the paper, hard copy or soft copy.